Felicia with Dear World Traveler, and we are going to get into Marrakech, Morocco. It's on the northwestern tip of Africa and highly known for its vibrant colors and unique culture. I went there to celebrate my husband's birthday and had an amazing time. The food, the people, the views, everything, it was amazing. In this video, I'm going to give you a review and rating based on my experience in Marrakech. I'll tell you things to do, places to eat, where to stay, and any other tips I have. Essentially, everything you need to know if you're planning a trip to Marrakech, which you should be. All right, let's get to it and start with things to do. Many times you'll hear people reference the Medina. In the Medina, outside the Medina, around the Medina, the Medina, the Medina, the Medina. If you're traveling to Marrakech for the first time, it'll be very helpful for you to understand what the Medina is. It's a section of the city that's enclosed within a wall. Most travelers stay in the Medina and spend a lot of their time in the Medina. So with that in mind, let's talk about things to do. First up is shopping. The Medina has a bunch of merchants and vendors in areas known as souks. Here you can find handmade leather goods, pottery, spices, souvenirs, rugs, anything you may want to buy. I bought this leather bag for $24 in the souks. I also bought this necklace. I can't exactly remember how much I paid for it. Maybe, it was no more than $20, maybe $15. But the souks have a lot of really good things that you can buy. The number one tip when shopping in the souks is to negotiate. Negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Anything is negotiable. The currency in Morocco is dirham, but many merchants also accept euros. One isn't necessarily better than the other. I mostly used euros because I currently live in Paris and that's the same currency as here. Another popular and inexpensive thing to do is to explore the night market in jemaa-el Square. It's the largest square in the Medina and it's full of merchants and local entertainment. Next up is the YSL Museum. I recommend this to anyone regardless of if you're into fashion or not. The exhibits and artwork inside the museum are a must-see and the architecture is stunning. It was only about 25 dirham to get in, which is about $7, so why not? Right next to the YSL Museum is Jardin Majorelle. If you are looking to get that perfect IG travel pic, this is the place for you. It actually used to be Yves Saint Laurent's private home and garden before it was opened up to the public. Can I get a house like that? On second thought, no, because it's probably super expensive to keep those grounds watered, so no. The grounds are beautiful and it's nearly impossible to get a bad picture. The entrance fee is 50 dirham, which is about $14. You can also visit the Berber Museum inside the garden and learn more about the indigenous Berber tribe and see their traditional clothing. Being recorded. Okay. Having a good time.
The Berber Museum. It was most interesting.
The Berber Museum?
It. Yes.
Good.
The indigenous people. Their culture.
Did you enjoy it?
What?
The YSL Museum, the garden.
A YSL Museum was full of clothes I can't afford. The garden was full of plants I cannot plant. So yeah, that's it.
Good. Two things to note about the YSL Museum and the garden. First thing is these are very popular attractions and can get crowded. So I suggest you get there early for smaller crowds. The second thing is they're located outside of the Medina, so you'll need to reserve a driver or a taxi to get you there. While we're on the topic of beautiful surroundings and perfect pictures, let's talk about the Bahia Palace. The amount of detail that went into this place is indescribable. It's something you have to see for yourself. Each room is different and I can't imagine the amount of time, effort, and labor that went into building this place. It's my last day in Marrakech and I'm here in the Bahia Palace and it is beautiful. Not only was this place breathtaking, but it was super cheap to get in. Only 10 dirham, which is about $3. Next up are the Atlas Mountains. They are the tallest mountains in Morocco and span across the country. To get to the mountains, you can take a 1-hour drive from the Medina and easily make it a day trip. I did a half-day hiking tour of the Atlas Mountains, and I have a separate video highlighting my experience on that trip. I'll link the description to that video below in the description so you can check it out for yourself. Alright, if you're like me and you love photography, you'll definitely need to visit the Photography Museum. It's filled with new and old photos showing the evolution of Marrakech and its people. It was only 40 dirham to get in, which is about $11, so very affordable. One thing to note for the photography lovers out there is drones are not allowed in Marrakech. When I was coming through the airport when I arrived, the airport security pulled my bag to the side and searched my bag for drones when they saw I had camera equipment, and they also searched my bag for drones when I was leaving Marrakech. So they take it very seriously. Leave your drone at home. We're also going to come back to the Photography Museum when we talk about places to eat, because there is a restaurant on the roof of the Photography Museum that is just but we'll come back to that. Next on the list of things to do is a food tour. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot go to Marrakech and not eat the traditional food. The food there pleases all the senses. It looks good, it tastes good, it feels good, it smells good, it's just good. You could easily create your own food tour because the food everywhere is just great, but why not go on a professionally guided tour to educate yourself? I did a night tour around the market and have a separate vlog about it, and I'll link it in the description below. All this talk about food, let's get into where to eat. Here are restaurants you can try while you're in Marrakech. First up is Color Safar. It has tapa style dishes, which makes it perfect to share, and you can easily try multiple things. We went to this restaurant for lunch right after we checked into our Riad, and the food was perfect for lunch. Second is Azar. It's perfect for a nice dinner date, has live entertainment, and the food was delicious. Remember how I said we were going to come back to the Photography Museum? Yes, the Photography Museum has a restaurant on its roof, and it has great views of the Atlas Mountains and the best kefta tagine. Oh, the best kefta tagine. Just look at it. Another restaurant I recommend is Nomad. They have beautiful views of the city. It has a nice outdoor patio on the top of the restaurant. They also serve burgers in case you need a break from Moroccan food. The fifth restaurant I recommend is Dublak. The food was decent, but I actually enjoyed the live entertainment more. It has this cotton club vibe, and there were several live acts that performed on stage as we ate dinner. Later in the night, the dance floor opened up and we had a really good time. Make sure you make a reservation. Dublak is located outside the Medina, so I would hate for you to travel there and not be seated. Next up is Naranj. It's located within the souks and is a great place to stop for a bite to eat as you shop. Be sure to try the hummus. Lastly is Marrakech. It's located in Jemaa-el Square, has live entertainment, views of the market, and great food. Now that I've given you things to do and places to eat, I'm going to show you where I stayed in Marrakech, and I'll also give you some things to consider when choosing your lodging. A common accommodation in Marrakech is a Riad. It's basically a house, and they all have a similar open space in the middle with some sort of pool. Our Riad was located near the Ben Salah Mosque on the eastern side of the Medina. It had 3 bedrooms, and each bedroom came with a full bathroom. It had a nice rooftop and lounging area. One thing to note about Riads is some of them rent out each room within the house separately. There were 5 of us on this trip, so we reserved the entire Riad. Keep that in mind though, if you are traveling with a party that isn't large enough to reserve the entire Riad, that you may have other travelers sharing the space with you. Our Riad also came with a freshly cooked breakfast every morning and access to a driver. Having a private driver is something I highly recommend. Marrakech is very much a walk-in city, but for those restaurants and attractions outside of the Medina, like the YSL Museum, you'll need a driver or a taxi to get you there. Marrakech doesn't have Uber or Lyft, so while you could use a taxi, the language barrier could make it difficult to explain where you want to go and how to get there. We used the driver about 3 to 4 times, and he only charged us 15 to 20 euros per ride, which wasn't bad since there were 5 of us. The Riad also arranged for the driver to pick us up from the airport, which was super helpful. Without the arranged driver, we would have had a near impossible time telling a taxi driver where exactly we needed to go, because Marrakech can be very difficult to navigate. So I said all that to say, if at all possible, get a Riad that has access to a driver. All in all, my experience at this Riad was the best. The owners gave Chris a cake for his birthday, and the housekeeper was there for essentially anything we needed. So our last day in Marrakech, this is Jahan. She was the housekeeper for the Airbnb we were staying in, and she was amazing.
Thank you.
She's the best guest, host, housekeeper, local tour guide I've ever had on any trip.
Thank you.
So if you come to Marrakech, which you should definitely come to Marrakech, definitely stay in the Riad that I stayed in. And Jahan may have her own Riad that you can stay in too.
And you are welcome.
And you are welcome to come. She's been so great. She's taken us to a local henna artist who did some henna for us. Anything we ever needed or asked for, she was able to give us the local hookup so we wouldn't spend a ton of money and we would have the best experience. So this trip has been amazing thanks to her.
You're welcome.
So it's great.
Anytime.
And now we're leaving Marrakech. But I have to come back to Morocco because Morocco has so many beautiful places. And it's just so hard to see all of it in a short amount of time. So I'll definitely be back, and I'll be back to Marrakech. And I love this trip. It was a great trip.
We've wished to see you again.
We'll be back. Now that was a lot of information to digest, and to help with that, I've created an itinerary and posted it on dearworldtraveler.com so you can easily reference and book everything you need for your trip to Marrakech. I'll include the link to that itinerary in the description below. Before I go, I'm going to do a rating of Marrakech out of 5 stars. The first star is affordability. For 4 days and 3 nights in Marrakech, I spent about $500 to $600. That does not include the flight, but it does include my stay at the Riad, fees for all the activities I mentioned, and food. So I consider that a good deal. The next star is variety of things to do. I mentioned several activities, but there's still more things you can do, like camel rides, ATV tours, or you can travel to other cities in Morocco. Marrakech has a lot to offer. Next up is ease of transportation. Marrakech is not the easiest city to get around, and there aren't a lot of options for transportation. So for that reason, I'm not going to give it a star for ease of transportation. Next is a big star for cuisine. Between the tagine, the hummus, the mint tea, I was sold. Lastly, it's a star for overall experience. I had an unforgettable time in Marrakech, and I would absolutely go again. That gives Marrakech a 4 out of 5 star rating. Whew, that was a lot of information. But going through that review was just bringing back so many good memories. With that, you should have everything you need to plan your trip to Marrakech. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Dear World Traveler so you can see more review videos just like this one. You can also follow Dear World Traveler on Instagram. For now, that's all I have, so I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.